concrete walls. There's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Thank you so much for coming out on a Monday night to share a little Q&A with me. You're going to be the Q. I'm going to be the A. Mostly. It's an Angry Orchard. It's an Angry Orchard. Oh, just a regular old apple Angry Orchard. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I assumed it was going to be like a peach mango. No, just an apple cider. Here we go. Yeah, it's giveaway night. No, it's going to take a little more than one cider to get me to do a live stream giveaway. It's going to take, like, you know, a tall bourbon or whatever. You never know. I just announced my Patron giveaway for this month. So, there you go. It's out there. You're eligible. Anybody can join, not just patrons. Just looking at my set and thinking about what I should do differently. What's the giveaway, 661FPV? So nice of you to ask. I mean, since you asked, I do a giveaway every month. How can I get to... There we go. And I wanted to do this in an incognito window so you could see that it's available to everyone. See, March giveaway. Anyone can join, although only patrons get an email notification. Wow, that could really have been... that little thumbnail there is not the best. Okay. What are we giving away? Oh, you know, just this and that. This is what we're giving away this month. On some level, my monthly giveaways are just, here's a bunch of crap that I don't want anymore. Like, that I'll just, you know, as a reviewer, I get more stuff than I'll use on a regular basis. So, like, down in the lower right is just, like, some video. This video transmitter is brand new. This one was pulled out of a quad to make room for the HD0. This is a camera that got ripped out of that very same quad. Or whatever, you know. Just, sometimes it's just random crap. But, you know, you might use it. But I always make sure there's at least, like, one really solid good thing in there. And I think this, I mean, to be honest, this iFlight Bumblebee, I can't remember. I think what happened was that I did a roundup of Cinewhoops a long time ago. And the iFlight Bumblebee I had some problems. And iFlight sent me another one, which very kind of them. But I didn't actually end up going back to it because I had already done that roundup. And just, you know, one thing or another. But I had it. And I was like, every time I thought about, well, what should I do with it? I was like, you know, it's got an air unit in it. I might need an air unit someday. But, like, I don't need an air unit. It's all Vistas, baby. It's all Vistas from here on out. So I'm giving it away. Little Express LRS module. I have a ton of them. Anyway, that's what we're giving away this month. Someone asked, all of the tiers get a notification every time I post. So every time I make a post, you could turn it off if you don't like email notifications, but every time I make any post, you get a notification. Wait a minute. Why have I not? I'm surprised that I thought the podcasts were supposed to be, well, anyway, I'll solve that later. Oh, come on, Wesley. Oh, Wesley Vardy. I'm not trying to pick on Jumper. The useless crap is just like, you know, some video transmitters and stuff, you know. That Jumper Aeon module is actually pretty solid, but it only goes to 500 milliwatts. So, nothing wrong with it. I just try not to keep every single thing I get because I don't want to sound greedy, and I'd rather have you guys have it in your hands than have it sitting in my drawer. So... why Vista over DJI? Weight, mostly weight and size. That's it. Weight and size. Anyway, that giveaway is happening right now. You can enter it, whether you're a patron or not. And I'd love to tell you that that's just out of the goodness of my heart. But honestly, what I would... so I do a giveaway every month on the new product roundup. And I do a giveaway every month on my Patreon. And if it were up to me, the Patreon giveaway would be open to patrons only. Like, I'm not trying to... I give plenty of stuff away for free to everybody, but I would make that patrons only. But it's actually a violation of U.S. law to not give a free entry to a giveaway like this. If you are a lottery, then you're regulated and it's different. But so it's actually a violation of the law and patrons' terms of service. So I have to let everyone enter. And as long as I have to do it, I may as well act like I'm doing it out of the goodness of my heart and get the social credit for that. Anyway. Danish Stallion. I have seen those scam commenters in my Pinocil video. I thought I banned them. But yeah, there's a scam going around YouTube right now, which is they create a comment that has my username, or it's not just me. It is a lot. Yeah, right here, boom, right here. Here is one, just by sheer coincidence. Here it is, right here. So there's a scam going around YouTube. If you're not familiar with it, oh, phooey. If you're not familiar with it, it's this. This is not me. This is not me. Okay? And I'm trying to stay on top of it, but obviously, yes, that is. And nobody gets caught, and nobody cares, but there you go. Let's see if there's any other comments that are doing that scam. What did he say? Reply? No. Shoot, I didn't see what the comment was. No. Anyway. Yeah, that's not me. If you win a prize from me, I'll always email you from joshuabardwell@gmail.com. So. Thank you, Danish Stallion, for pointing that out. Here's what we're doing, folks. Here's what we're doing. Sean Hendricks. JB, you need to update your affiliate links. Why, Sean? What do I need to update? Tell me more. I would like to know more. Marcin Samotia, very interesting question. Let's come back to that question just as soon as we, real quick, introduce everybody. Welcome to the live stream. If you're new here, first of all, glad to have you. Thank you for being here. And say hello. I'd love to welcome you personally to my live stream. I'm going to be answering your questions. How many Vistas do you have? I got 8. I got a lot of Vistas. I haven't had to buy a Vista in a long time, I'll tell you that. I'll be answering your questions here. In addition to that, Sandra DeBronner. 661 FPV. I don't know what to tell you, man. I banned that one account. After that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, to some degree, there will always be YouTube spam, and there's not a lot you can do about all of it. So, was it special? Hey, Phantom FPV. Search for the word special. So I don't see that comment. I don't see those people anymore on my channel right now. So for now, it's not there. Okay. So I'm going to be taking your questions. I will be also taking questions from these beautiful people. Do the people on this side of the screen seem particularly beautiful? It's because they're my patrons. How's the iFlight bag holding up? Great. I love it. It's wonderful. I will love it forever until the next best thing comes along, but that hasn't happened yet. This is my Discord server, and these are my patrons. So, it's Blunty. Good to see you there, man. Greetings from Poland. Greetings from Poland. Thank you, Max Damage. It's 1:11 a.m. I'm watching a stream instead of going to sleep. I'm very glad to have you with us, Max Damage. Stingy just posted. Stingy just posted a video freestyling. He said he was visiting his in-laws in Poland. It's a very unusual time to fly to Poland, but hey, gotta visit your in-laws, I guess. When your in-laws say, hey, come visit us, you gotta go. Be like, can you imagine how that conversation went? Honey, I want to go visit my in-laws. Oh, yeah, where do they live? Europe. Oh, okay, Europe's pretty cool. Can we get in with the COVID and everything? Yeah, don't worry about it, it's no problem. Okay, where in Europe? Poland. Very interesting. How do you enter the giveaway, Fly Nasty? It's posted. It's posted on the Patreon page. You have to go to the post. You have to go to my Patreon. You have to go to the post, and there are instructions for how to enter right there. That's all I gotta say. Your in-laws would be your honey's parents. Yeah, no, she knows. In this hypothetical scenario I'm laying out, she knows, but she doesn't want to say. Right. B-Man FPV points out there could be worse places. My in-laws live in Belarus, and they want us to come for our christening. No. For those of you who are keeping up with Fabio, my editor, he has settled back in his home country. Settled isn't the right word for it. He is currently living in Italy. He made it back to Italy with his wife, and of course they'd rather be home, and they'd rather that their home city hadn't been bombed. I chuckle because it's not. I'm not laughing because it's funny. But he is currently in Italy and is not in imminent danger of being blown up or shot, as far as I know. So for those of you who are keeping up with his story, there you go. Boris the Blade, hello from Ukraine. Boris, if you're currently in Ukraine, God bless you, my friend. Anyway, let's go back to Marcin Samocha's question. Let's get back on task here. I'm so busy doing comedy about about your in-laws wanting you to go to a war zone. Maybe that's not the right. Maybe I should work on these comedy bits in like a writer's room with other comedians and not so much on a live stream with you guys. I don't know. Any ideas how to unscrew a screw from a frame that is totally destroyed? So let me tell you, the first thing you got to do is get it out before it's totally destroyed. Because once it's totally destroyed, like if there's literally no head on it, then boy, I don't know what to tell you about that. It's tough. You can drill it out. If you're willing to sacrifice the frame plate, you can destroy the frame plate and get it out. But the best thing to do is, like, as soon as you notice that it's starting to strip, stop. And, like, really commit yourself to the very next thing you do. Because if you half-ass it, you're just going to strip it out more, and then it's going to be worse. So, like, a common thing to do is to get a Dremel and Dremel a notch in it and use a flathead screwdriver. That's a thing you can do. Some people will say use a Torx bit and it bites in. I don't find that to be super reliable. There is a thing called an easy out, which is a screw extractor. Some people say that works, although I've had a little bit of trouble with those. In my experience, another trick that I've used, let's say you've got a motor and one of the motor screws is stripped. Remove the other three and then twist the motor to cause the stripped screw to loosen, and then you can get it out. So that's a thing you can do. I've never had any luck with a rubber band, personally. Yeah. Easy out is good. A Dremel with a flathead works. You can grind off the entire screw head. You're probably going to damage the carbon, but those are some ways to go about it. File down the edges of the screw so you can unscrew it with a vice grip. That's tricky because these, like an M3 button head screw, just doesn't have a lot of grip. I would say I never like to use aluminum screws because number one, they shear off in a hard crash, and number two, they strip. I will always use steel screws, even though they're so much heavier than aluminum, because I cannot deal with it, the stripped screws. So there you go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to answer questions. If you some people say you can solder another screw on top of it. Interesting. You could use JB Weld. Yeah. Woo! Triple B, living dangerously. Triple B, thank you for being a patron. Triple B in the Discord server asks, my Mmcx connector is lifting on one side on my receiver, but it's still connecting. Should I be worried, or will super glue be enough? No. So first of all, super glue is not enough. You don't, no. If you were going to glue it down, you would use epoxy. Epoxy would be the thing to use. But if it's lifting, like if I was somewhere like critical and I had to fly, you could like epoxy it down and cross your fingers. But you need electrical connectivity. And especially, like if we were talking about something like, just powering your video transmitter or USB, you could just hold it down and it would be fine. But 5.8 gigahertz microwave needs a solid electrical connection to work. So if it's lifting, then probably that center pin may also be lifted. Realistically, if you have an RF connector, like an MMCX, and it's not soldered soundly, then the right thing to do is to replace it. Because even if it seems to be working, it probably is not giving you the range that you normally would expect. Super glue won't hold. It'll just crack. Epoxy would hold, but you need solder. So, max FPV, that's a great question. Sorry, Triple B, that wasn't the answer. I mean, if it works fine, you could like epoxy it down and cross your fingers. You should solder it though. Why wouldn't you just solder that pad down? Anyway, max FPV, fantastic question. Is it true that the FetTech G4 16 volt 600 milliamp pad is underpowered for the Vista Air Unit Lite? Yes, but also no. Here's what I mean. Let's turn to my friend, Mr. Calculator. Hi, Mr. Calculator. Oh, hey there, Joshua. You want to do some math? You know I do. I love doing math. Okay, so the Vista pulls 10 watts. Maximum. How many amps is that? 10 watts divided by 16 volts equals... Oh, look at that! 625 milliamps. Thank you, Mr. Calculator. Well, that's exactly as many milliamps as that 16-volt regulator is being asked to pull. You know that's true. Boy, it sure looks like they sized that 16-volt regulator to be just big enough to power the DJI Vista. Just big enough. But if you got anything else running off it, oops, it's not big enough anymore. Oh, and by the way, that 10 watt is based on the 700 milliwatt max output power. If you've done the 1200 milliwatt WAD, then it's going to go over. So, my opinion, it's not sized big enough. Now, when I say it's not sized big enough, people come out of the woodworks. Feel free to do it right now in the comments. And they say, what are you talking about, Bardwell? I run the Vista off that, and it's fine. And people from FetTech go, why are you saying we undersized our regulator? We sized it just right. And I would say, yes, you sized it just right. Which means that if anybody pulls even a little bit of extra current, now it's not big enough. Why would you size a voltage regulator just right for the one load you expect it to pull? Why would you not build in an operating margin? So in my opinion, no. If all you're running off that regulator is the Vista or the Air Unit, and you are not going over 700 milliwatts, then I believe it works, and many people say it works. But if you're running it at 1200 milliwatts, and especially if, like, for some reason you're running the camera off it or something else, it's not big enough. And it might work, but it's not like reliable. I wouldn't rely on it. And I'm not just making that up, because I've also talked to people who say that their Vista browns out when they run it. It shuts down when they run it on the 16-volt regulator. So I'm not just making that up. All right. Good question. Oh, man. Let's do one more, and then let's read some super chats. Paris Delaney. What's your recommendation for an ultralight 5-inch long-range drone? Which of the bind and flies is the best? I mean, the quad that made me change my mind about sub 250. First of all, when you say ultralight, I assume you mean sub 250. Do you mean sub 250 or do you mean like sub 400? Yeah. So if you mean sub 250, the quad that changed my mind about sub 250 5-inch was the Ummagod 250, which is available in a bind and fly from various places, including Ummagod himself. If you mean like 400 grams or 350 grams, maybe there's other ones to look at, but that was the one that really made me think a sub 250 5-inch was worth a look. Ghost Branch says, what are you talking about, Bardwell? I knew people would say this. Ghost Branch, I actually was thinking of you, because I know you use FetTech and you work with those guys a lot. Ghost Branch, I believe you. If you say, I can't tell if you're kidding. You're double kidding. Maybe you're triple kidding. I'm not sure how. He said if you run an air unit at 1200 milliwatts off the 16-volt regulator, I mean, you could easily do the math, though, right? Right? I mean, I did the math. 10 watts at 16 volts is 625 milliamps. That's more than 600 milliamps. So FETTech says that regulator is rated for 600 milliamps. When you go from 700 milliwatts to 1200 milliwatts, you will pull more power. Now, is it pulling 10 watts all the time? I don't know. But the bottom line, Ghost Branch, is although there are many people who say they run their air unit off that 16-volt pad with no problem, I also have talked to people who say that they couldn't do it and it browned out. And that's what that's based on. And the thing is, the fact that it works 100% of the time for you, that's data. But the fact that it also didn't work for some people, that's also data. And everybody has to decide where they're going to be. But honestly, I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, obviously there's a reason. It was the bill of materials or it was the size of the components. I'm disappointed that knowing that they would need to pull 625 milliamps at least, they chose to make the regulator 600 milliamps. Why wouldn't you put in an operating margin just for safety? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but that's my thought about it. Okay. Let's get these super chats. We got some super chats coming in. Mike Speedy FPV, thank you so much for £5, £5 super chat. Thank you. No question. Just Cali FPV, thanks for $5. Can we please talk about Virgin FPV's frame that will change the FPV world forever? No. Dargy FPV, thank you for $5 Australian. Hey, mate, I posted in Discord chat as it was too big for the super chat. Well, okay. Dargy FPV. Now, are you Dargy FPV or are you a different name? Where did you post it? I don't know where you posted it, Dargy. Did you post it in Livestream chat? Dargy, where are you? Well, Dargy, pop up in the Livestream chat channel, Dargy, so I can find you. Because I'm not sure. Let me search for Dargy. Oh, here we go. From Dargy FPV. Got it. I got it. Today, 8:14 p.m. Got it. I found it. God forbid you use the search function. Damn it. I lost it again. Jump to... What's your thoughts? Here we go. How do I close that thing? There we go. Darky FPV, thank you for $5 Australian. What's your thoughts on the Rush Blade F722 flight controller? I've just bought two and I'm having issues connecting them to Betaflight. I have to unconnect and connect multiple times to work and then change between the tabs slowly or it freezes. Not having this issue on any of my other flight controllers. Dargy, normally, if a flight controller, like the tabs are really slow to update, I assume there's a problem with the USB cable or the USB plug. And it's just really intermittent. But you say that it's working fine on your other flight controllers, and so clearly it's not your USB cable. I would at least try on a different computer. In general, though, nothing wrong with the Rush Blade F722 flight controller, and I'm not sure what could be causing that for you. Clark wants to know, has analog FPV camera development stopped now? I haven't seen any recent reviews from anyone, and if so, is the JB RunCam Phoenix 2 the best analog option? Well, I mean, obviously, I think it's the best. It's the one that I like. Nope, that's gone. So I would say it's the best. Obviously, many people, not everyone agrees with my take on how a camera should be tuned. Like a lot of racers, like the Foxeer Predator, So I don't think you could easily pick just one best analog camera, but definitely a lot of people are focused on DJI and HD0. It doesn't seem like they're cranking out analog cameras as much as they used to. That's what I would say. Boris the Blade, thanks for $5 in the super chat. Has the V2 come out? They sent me samples. They sent me samples of the updated one. They said they were going to update it. Did they Is this the new one? Huh. It must be the new one. I should really do an update on the, I should really do a release video. Wow, I am terrible. I'm really terrible at, I think that, like, several months ago, they said, hey, we're going to update your camera. We can't keep making the same one. Would you like to do another version with us? And I was like, sure. And we worked on it, and we agreed on what it was going to be. And I didn't hear from them again. And I probably was supposed to do a release video. And they haven't bugged me about it. And that's the kind of thing that probably... No, see, Phoenix V2 JB Special Edition. I wonder if they haven't released the new one yet. Well, anyway. I should probably ask. I know the Phoenix 2 has been out for years. There's another one. There's a new generation coming. They updated the non-JB version. I see. AMR Madden says, is analog slowly dying out? What are your thoughts? AMR Madden, I think it's going to be a long time before analog is dead, if only for the cost. But there certainly are a lot fewer analog pilots than there were 2 years ago because many people have switched to DJI. I mean, that's just a fact. But I don't think analog's going to die anytime soon. Miguel T. Miguel T, thank you for a $5 super chat. Have you checked out Davey504? Yeah, I do know Davey504 on YouTube. A great bass player. Plays the best instrument, bass. I'm familiar with him. Yeah, he's pretty funny. Carbon Cage FPV is one of the mysteries of the universe, man. Why did one of my motors stop working? Why did one of my motors stop working? Hey, Mr. Calculator, you know why his motor stopped working? Sorry, man, I only do calculations. I don't know shit about motors. Yeah, me neither, Mr. Calculator. Sometimes motors just stop working for no freaking reason. Oh, is that true? Yeah, that's true. Hey, you mind if I move over here and just... Hey. Back off. We're not friends like that. Sorry. Don't be sad. It's okay. Motor twitches with the startup tones but does not spin when armed. I mean, the first thing to do is verify that you have all 5 of the startup tones. At that point, if it doesn't spin, something broke. Could be the ESC. Don't forget that the continuity test on the ESC is not 100% certain. It can pass the continuity test and still have some kind of damage. If it fails the continuity test with the multimeter, then it's definitely damaged. But if it passes the continuity test, it still could be damaged. Swap the motor. That's the thing to do. Swap the motor, see if that fixes it. If that doesn't fix it, swap the ESC. That's like, it sucks, but that's basically how you do it. JG, do you know if there has been a fix or will be a fix for the issue where when you switch between the DJI FPV drone and the air unit, it loses bind? Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Maybe someday DJI is kind of like an abusive partner. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little. Don't take this personally, DJI, if you're out there. It's like, hey, I got you a present. And then they just ignore you. And, your birthday goes by. Your anniversary goes by. They just don't call and they don't talk. You're like, does DJI still know I'm out? Do they know I exist? DJI, I love you, please. And then suddenly they're like, oh, hey, I got you another present. You're like, oh, he still loves me. But, you would never count on them actually being there. Right? So it's possible that they'll just, suddenly decide to fix that bug for some reason of their own that none of us can understand. But don't count on it. Don't count on it. They just released this firmware update that Madstech is talking about that locks out the ability to roll back firmware. Hey, maybe they'll slip a bug fix in there just to sweeten the deal. It turns out they didn't, but... Jimmy Theriot. Jimmy Theriot says... I have my DJI system. Thank you for a $10 super chat, Jimmy. I have my DJI system connected to my homemade FPV cockpit with the DigiView app. It works pretty good. What do you think about the Axis Flying box? Check out my cockpit when you get a chance. I think the latency on the DigiView, the latency on the video out from the goggles, it was higher than I would like to fly with. 100 plus milliseconds, too much. But if you're happy, I'm happy for you. Bee's Knees, item 9. Thank you for a $10 super chat. I have an analog Xylo 4 kit that after a few flights, the video went black on takeoff, smoked. Yikes. And came out of the camera in VTX, and the flight controller doesn't put out voltage to the VTX anymore. What happened? So there was a change. There was the camera that originally came with that kit. If you're talking about the Bardwell budget build Xylo kit, the camera that came with that kit was originally rated for 6S. I made the instructions for the build telling you to put it on battery voltage, but then the manufacturer changed the camera, and it was only working on 4S, even though it was supposed to be rated for 6S. It was burning. So we made an update. I have an update to that video that's linked on the product page and also in the playlist, saying basically don't wire it up that way. If you missed that instruction and you wired the camera up on 6S, that would explain why the camera fried. But I don't know why the flight controller would have fried. Something died, though. I think you got to reach out to GetFPV support and see if they consider your situation to be covered under warranty. That's what I would say. Scott Abramacek, thank you for a $3 super chat. Wild FPV wants to know, what's the difference between the Gyro Filter multiplier and the D-term filter multiplier in Betaflight? Let me plug in a flight controller and we will take a look. So here in Betaflight, oh, convenient, PID tuning tab, we'll go to filter settings, and we've got these two sliders here. One is gyro and one is D-term. So the first thing to take from this is that there's two sets of filters. One is the gyro filter, which filters the gyro data going into the PID loop. Okay, so the way the PID loop works is gyro data goes into the PID loop, and then the PID loop uses that data to tell how the quadcopter is moving. And then based on how the quadcopter is moving and the stick inputs it's getting, the PID loop causes the motors to speed up or slow down to cause the quadcopter to move in the way it's being commanded to move. there's a whole lot of vibration from the motors. And that vibration confuses the PID loop because the PID loop will try to respond to that vibration and cancel it out. And it can't do that. The vibration is far too fast for the PID loop to be able to cancel it out. Fast in terms of the frequency. It's high frequency. So for example, the movement of the quadcopter might be around 20 hertz or less. Prop wash oscillation is around 50 to 80 hertz. And prop wash oscillation is at the high end of what the motors can possibly cancel out. Because the motors can only change speed so fast, right? If the motor can't speed up and slow down to negate the movement of the quadcopter, then the PID controller can't deal with that movement. So somewhere around 50 to 80 hertz is prop wash oscillation, and somewhere around 100 hertz is basically the fastest the motors could possibly change speed, and therefore everything above about 100 to maybe 120 hertz, you could draw that line in various places. Everything above that is complete noise. It is useless. If the motors could change speed faster, then they could respond to that information, but they can't. And so what we want to do with our filters is get rid of that higher frequency noise so that the PID controller can't deal with it anyway. So we may as well not just muddy up the situation with all this gyro data that it can't deal with. Okay, so we have these filters. The filters are low-pass filters, and they filter out the motor noise and other high-frequency noise while letting the low-frequency movement of the quadcopter through, and that's what we're looking at here. Now, the question is, what should the cutoff frequency for those filters be? How high or low should that filter work? Because the thing is, filters don't just subtract out frequencies, but you can't just put a hard brick wall and eliminate frequencies above 100 hertz. That's not how filters work. Filters work gradually. They sort of roll off the frequencies. And you can design filters with steeper roll-off, but that causes problems with the data that gets through. Okay? So there's a limit to how steep you can make that filter without affecting the gyro data that we want to see. Otherwise, we would just have an arbitrarily steep filter and get rid of everything above 100 hertz and call it a day. So these filters are dynamic. And what that means is that they will go up and down based on, I'm not sure if it's the throttle position or the motor RPM. I think it's throttle position. So as the motors speed up and as the motor RPM increases, the noise that we need to get rid of is higher frequency. And so rather than having a low cutoff filter all the time, the filter sort of tracks the throttle position and goes up and down. Okay, so that's what we've got here. Now we've got a gyro filter and a D-term filter. And what's happening there, we're almost to the sliders. We're almost there. What happens there is the gyro data comes in, it gets filtered. That data goes to the P term, the I term, the D term, and the feed forward term. And it turns out that the D term has a specific problem, that the D term amplifies high frequency noise. And that's not like an unfortunate consequence of the D term. That's actually its whole job. But we only want it to amplify the high frequency components of the low frequency movement of the quad. So we've got this filtered data where we threw out the high frequency noise and then we feed it to the D term, and the D term is like, cool, more high frequency noise. Let me amplify that. And so the D term gets an extra filter to get rid of the noise that it amplified. Now, why don't we just filter it like that? Why don't we just filter the gyro data extra? Well, we could, But the P and the I term and the feed forward term don't need that filtering. So we filter the gyro data a little bit, and we give that to the P, the I, and the feed forward, and they're fine. And we give that filtered gyro data to the D term, and it amplifies the noise, and then we filter it again to get rid of that extra noise that the D term added. So that's why we have a D term and a gyro low-pass filter. And now we come to the sliders. The sliders, if you watch right here, as I move the slider up and down, they change the minimum and maximum frequency for the dynamic filter. The more to the right, the less filtering we have, the higher the cutoff of the filter, the better the flight performance of the quad, but also the more noise gets through. And then we have the same thing for the D term. And why do we have separate ones? Well, we have separate sliders because we have separate filters. And I just spent like 20 minutes explaining why we have separate filters, because the D term needs additional filtering. But the real question that you're probably wondering is, when I tune the filters, like, how do I know which one to move? And that is there is no simple answer to that question. But I'll tell you what I do. What I do is I get rid of gyro low pass 1. Because it turns out that most quads today, especially if you are using RPM filtering, and by the way, do you notice that this quad is not using RPM filtering? It's not here. But if you are using RPM filtering, you can almost always get rid of gyro low pass 1 and have no ill effects. In fact, some people get rid of gyro low pass 2, although I feel like that's a little on the edge for general recommendations. And at that point, you only have the D term filter slider to tune, and that's what I do. Get all that? Hopefully you got all that. That's why you come to the live stream, baby. Aaron wants to know, is there newer or better technology that can replace the PID controller? Aaron, there are various other things out there that do the same job as a PID controller. At the end of the day, the goal of the PID controller is to cause the quad's movement to track your sticks accurately. That's all it's doing. Other technologies out there that can accomplish the same thing have drawbacks. I'm not an expert on them. But for example, they might require significantly more complicated processing, and they wouldn't work on the little tiny microprocessors on our quads. A PID controller is pretty effective at doing what we need it to do. There are other technologies out there, but we're not using them. Alrighty. We got a couple more super chats coming in. Rapid Ariel, thank you for a $10 super chat. I have looked so hard, but I cannot find the answer. Oh, I hope I can give you the answer. How can I get bidirectional D-shot on a T-Motor F722 stack? I tried ESC Configurator online, but it's not supported. So I think that is a BL Heli 32 ESC, isn't it? Isn't it? I really think it is. Like, I'm really sure it is, but let's check. T-Motor F55A Pro 2. That's your ESC, I believe. Surely this is BL Heli 32. Yeah. So this is a BL Heli 32 ESC. It supports bidirectional D-shot out of the box. It just supports it. So here's the problem. If you're going to escconfigurator.com, this is only for BL Heli S ESCs. BL Heli 32 doesn't need that. As long as you're on BL Heli 32.7 or newer, which like you definitely are. Like that ESC is new enough, I'd be shocked if it shipped with 32.6. So as long as you're on 32.7 or 32.8, that's it. The reason that this doesn't work is because this is only for BLHeli S ESCs. They don't support bidirectional D-shot until you do jump through some hoops. But your ESC just supports it out of the box. You're good to go. Congratulations. I hope that answers your question. Thank you for your generous donation. Yeah, just go into Betaflight and turn on bidirectional D-shot. Bada boom. Broke my fat strap. That's a cool name. Broke my fat strap. Thanks for $7 Canadian. JBF7 with a Mamba F50 ESC on 8K D-Shot 600 motor tab is showing up to 5% errors. 0% on 8K 4K D-Shot 300. What did you think would be the cause? So first of all, broke my fat strap. You should always, pretty much always have 0% errors to the motors in the motors tab. If you have less than 1% error, then it's acceptable to fly, but still kind of weird. And if you have more than 1% errors, something is seriously wrong. So what's wrong? You're getting corruption of your motor signal from potentially electrical noise, maybe bad wires. I would definitely check that there's no damage to the wire harness between the two. And then something is like it's hard to say what it is, because like it could be electrical noise from a voltage regulator that's bad. It could be your video transmitter making electrical noise. It's hard to pin down exactly what's causing it. But the thing is, it shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't happen. It is happening though. The reason that going to D-Shot 300 fixes it is that the slower, simpler signal is more resistant to corruption due to interference. So if I were you, I would spend like a half hour trying to figure out, like if you flip the flight controller upside down, does that fix it? Diatone has a shield that you can put on top of the ESC. Maybe that's why they sell the shield, because they know this is a problem. They have a shield that you can put on top of the ESC, and you solder a ground wire to it, and it helps protect it from electrical noise. These are some things you could do, but at the end of the day, I probably would just run 8K, 4K, D-Shot 300. I would cuss about it, and then I would get on with my life. That's my take. Alrighty. Lord Henricks. That's an interesting question. Lord Henricks. I bought a T-Motor Velox F50A. The firmware says T-Motor, but it's configured through BLHeli. What's up with that? All BLHeli ESCs are configured through BLHeli, regardless of who manufactures them. That's normal. Nothing weird about that, Lord Henricks. Maybe I'm missing something in this situation. Oh, it's Nevian. It's Nevian. Did you get it? I'm really sorry, but you could be getting scammed. If I email you, it'll come from joshuabardwell@gmail.com, and I will announce... Look. So there's a new scam going around where people like try to clone your account and say that you've won something. Unfortunately, there's really nothing I can do to stop this. I mean, I do the reasonable things that I can do. So, like, if you look right here, Joshua Bardwell, do you see? This is me announcing the winners. Here, we'll zoom in a little. This is me announcing the winners of the giveaway. Do you see that this is my verified account? Do you see that it's gray here and I have a check mark next to my name? That is a verified account, Joshua Bardwell. Do you see that if you click this account, it goes to my channel? This is my actual channel. Okay, so that's me. That's how you can know that's really me. And I am announcing the winners right here. And the winners of the March New Product Roundup are Alex Kastning, Cliff Enox, and Darren Bolganbayev. I emailed these people. If you're not one of these people, and you get an email from me saying that you won something, it's a scam. Also, I am joshuabardwell@gmail.com. If you get an email from me, well, the thing is, you can spoof email addresses, so that's not reliable, but that's all I mean, I don't know what I can do more than that. This is how I try and keep things honest, is I post the winners' names under the video, and then I email the winners. I don't know what to do other than that. Unfortunately, Sheesh FPV. Did you win something, Sheesh? Are you one of those people, Sheesh FPV? If so, then congratulations. Let's look, because I don't want to mislead you, Sheesh. Cliff Enox, Alex Kastning. Cliff Enox, Alex Kastning. So I emailed these people. I'm not sure if one of these people is Sheesh FPV, but there you go. All right. That's all I have to say about that. So then the other thing is that, like, when somebody wins something, I ask them for their mailing address, obviously, so I can send them the prize. But I will never ask you, like, to give me money or your social security number or any bullshit like that. That's obviously a scam. Hopefully. Yeah. Anyway. These scammers are not part of the FPV community. It's all across YouTube. I've seen it everywhere. All right. Moving on. JaffaCast. I'm assuming that you are talking about Jaffa cakes. Shoot. Let me reload this page. Is this not working? Hey. There we go. Jaffa wants to know. Why am I not? There we go. Jaffa wants to know, what's the best field pack to bring on a hike? A large 6S or a few smaller 5S or 4S or lower? So Jaffa, or Ruben G, the best thing to do is to just buy more flight packs. That is, in terms of your weight, right? Bringing a big 6S, I would just bring more flight packs. Okay, I guess there's some argument you probably could make that having a big battery is more like weight efficient, like milliamp hours. I don't know about that. But I think probably it's more expensive, but simpler to just have more flight packs rather than charge in the field. Now, the main reason not to do that is the price. It's significantly cheaper to buy like a 10,000 milliamp hour 6S because it's going to be like 20C rated or 10C rated. And because that big honkin' battery has a very low C rating, it can be cheaper. So if you want to charge in the field, I think that the higher the voltage, it seems like the better you're going to be, right? The other thing is that lithium ion cells, like 18650s, are going to be able to be discharged lower and have more energy density than a LiPo. So, but honestly, what I would do is just bring more flight packs and not charge in the field. Mike Bergman says, take it from a guy who bought a 22,000 milliamp hour 6S for field charging. It's way easier to buy more flight packs. Yeah, so like, think about it. If you buy more flight packs and you explode your battery, you still have flight packs. But if you were to go flying with 4 flight packs and 1 giant 6S battery, and you explode one of your flight packs, now you're down to 3 flight packs. So... I'm just not a huge fan of field charging. And if I do field charge, like I have the Rely-On. I have the Rely-On battery that I use. It's pretty good. I mean, it's expensive. And if I were going on a hike, it would be too heavy. I wouldn't bring it with me. But for charging out of the car or on a flight line, it's pretty good. But if I had to go hike somewhere, if I was going for a rotor riot shoot, and they said, look, we're going to have to hike for a half hour to get into this one location. So first of all, I'd be like, hike for a half hour? Are you kidding me? Shut up. Don't I look like the kind of guy who wants to hike for a half hour? But then I would be like, I'm not carrying a big 22,000 milliamp hour. I'm just going to have 20 flight packs with me, and I hope that's enough. Mr. Syncopad said, field charging saved my life. I can fly all day on a 20 amp hour pack. Well, I mean, yes, but let's go back to Mr. Calculator. Let's go back to Mr. Calculator. Where are you? There he is. 20 amp hours. So 20,000 milliamp hours. Let's say it's a 6S. So times 3.7 times 6. So that's 444,000 watt hours or milliwatt hours. Okay. Typical flight pack is about 22 watt hours. So that's 20 flight packs. Yep, that's about right. I would just bring 20 flight packs. There you go. Now, is that going to be heavier or lighter than your 6S 20,000 milliamp hour battery? I don't know. Good question. If only there was a way we could find the answer to that question. 20,000 milliamp hour 6S 12C. Perfect. Perfect. $200. So first of all, you see it's way cheaper. 20 flight packs, right? $200. That's way cheaper. Right? It's way cheaper. I'm not saying it's not. How much does it weigh? 2.6 kilograms. So how does that compare? A typical, flight pack would be 200 grams. So that's 4 kilograms. Okay, so it is a little more than half the weight of 20 flight packs. And it is way cheaper. Let's just do the math. Let's say those flight packs are $25. It is $300 cheaper than 20 flight packs. So that's the pro, right? That's the upside. A lot of people are going to feel that's the upside. Oh, you got to add in the weight of the charger, which is probably not that significant. So you save maybe a kilogram and you save maybe $300 by buying this instead and bringing it with you to field charge instead of buying flight packs. That's how I would do the math on this. And then it's going to take you time to charge. That's the other downside. Think about it. If you're charging at 4 amps, that's 4C, roughly. So that's going to be 30 minutes. 3C is 20 minutes. 4C is 15 minutes. So it's going to be about 15, 20 minutes to fully charge the batteries. And you're going to be cycling them while you fly. As Ciotti points out, carrying a 20 amp hour 6S in your backpack is kind of terrifying. If anything goes wrong, Jesus. Anyway, there's pros and cons. All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. Good question. Oh, yeah, good point. 661FPV points out you still have to have flight packs with you. You would have another 5 or 10 flight packs on top of this. That's a really good point. The weight is not quite as simple as that. Good point. I'm not sure you're actually saving weight, now that we think about that. Lithium iron phosphate, Andrew Lauritsen, lithium iron phosphate is absolutely right. Yeah, so let me show you, if you guys don't know. Hang on. So I've got this. This is a lithium iron phosphate battery from Relion. In the interest of disclosure, I will tell you they gave this to me. I didn't buy it. It's like $600, so like you gotta really want it. But it has amazing energy density. It's not as energy dense as a lipo, but you can literally stab this with a metal spike and it won't burn, which is kind of nice. And it does better if left fully charged and in storage. It has a built-in battery management system, and this is my go-to for field charging. It's also not that freaking heavy. So, yeah, that's what I use. Yeah, many people would not feel safe with a 20 amp hour 6S. What about car batteries? They're heavy as shit, and they don't actually discharge very low. If you have a, you know, I did a whole video about this. If you have a deep discharge like marine battery, then it is pretty cost effective, but it's heavy as shit. You wouldn't want to hike with it. Dingles asks, how do you charge that? You can charge it straight from DC. If you just feed it like 13 volts DC, the built-in battery management system will take care of it. But I charge it on a LiPo charger using LIFE mode. That's what I do. Yeah, it just plugs in with an XT. You charge it as a, like, I think it's a 4S LIFE. Alrighty. We got a super chat here from ID10 Tango. Thank you for a $5 super chat. Safe to say, if you know about FPV, you learned something from Mr. Bardwell. Thank you, ID10 Tango. It's very kind of you to say. There we go. JCFPV, I'm with you. JCFPV says, I would rather have 20 chances to go fly. Bingo. That's exactly right. And I fully acknowledge that I am abusing my privilege as a professional FPV pilot. Because, like, when I shop for batteries, here I go, oh man, 20 batteries. How many batteries do I need for this Rotor Riot shoot? I don't know. 30? I fly like 5 of them. I can't be caught without a battery. I'll look like such an idiot. So I bring 20, 25, 30 batteries. Oh God, that's so expensive. Should I get a field charging setup? No, it's a business expense. And then you just spend $500 on batteries. And you're like, I'm good for batteries now. You show up with 20 brand new batteries. You fly 5 of them. You get like half a pack that actually looks good while Drew and Bubby make you look like a chump. Well, at least I have batteries charged. Anybody need any batteries? You guys, I got charged batteries. I'm not going to fly them if anybody needs them. But I do. I don't want to be like, hold on, I got to charge up. I just want to pull another pack out and fly. So I bring batteries. Anyway. And then you spend 3 hours discharging when you get home. That is exactly right. It's not Sam. That is exactly right. It's exactly right. Mars Tech Racing asks, have you ever thought on doing a video on end-to-end latency on the DJI versus analog? The latency that DJI shows you is end-to-end latency. It's end-to-end. It's glass to glass. And it's been validated by RC Shim at least, and I think a few other people, but RC Shim at least tested it and found it to be pretty close to accurate. So when DJI says 35 milliseconds, that's what you're getting. Now the real question is, there is variance within there. It goes up and down, and that's the average. There are little spikes and dropouts, and that I'm not sure how you would exactly detect that reliably, but yeah, I mean, the analog latency has been measured, and DJI latency is as reported. So there we go. Lord Henricks, good question. Lord Henricks filling us, got some good questions this time. What symptoms would replace hot motors if the weather is too cold for the motors to even get hot? So what are the symptoms of excess degain or insufficient filtering or both? Hot motors is one of those symptoms, but if it's super cold out, the motors won't get hot. The other symptoms would be a trilling oscillation, especially at high throttle, like a kind of a sound as you raise throttle. Instead of a whoosh, it kind of goes to a trilling sound. A tendency to want to fly away when you raise the throttle. And like the motors seem reluctant to come down or want to sort of keep accelerating and fly away, or they do fly away. Those are some things but frankly, I've seen quadcopters where you turn off almost all the filters and it still basically flies, and hot motors would be the thing that holds you back. But if it's cold enough outside, you could just like crank all those sliders to the right and everything is fine and the quad flies great. So there you go. Let's see here. All right, we haven't got any questions coming in. Does that mean it's time to play Elden Ring? The chat goes, yeah. Oh, man. Orga, not Orca. Important distinction. Orga says, I watched your HDO video. The difference between the HDO and the DJI and the penetration test was huge. Do you think they'll ever catch up with DJI in that area? I mean, like, never say never, but there's just a fundamental difference in the technology between HDO, DJI and everybody else. And DJI has its upsides and its downsides, right? But one of its things it excels at is penetration and range. It really excels at that. And so I think it will be tough for anyone to catch up. The thing to keep in mind is that DJI is not just on Generation 2. The DJI FPV system is like Generation 4, I think. I wish Madstech were here. He would know. Madstech, are you here? Generation 4 of the OcuSync system. OcuSync started. Did it start on the Phantom? Ken Heron would know, or Madstech would know. OcuSync has been around for a long time, and the DJI FPV system is an evolution of the OcuSync system that has been in quads for a long time. So this is not DJI's first trip to this rodeo, so to speak. And that's one of the reasons it's so good. They've been working on it for 10 years. And they have $1 billion. Also that. They have $1 billion from selling drones. So that helps. I mean, I hope somebody catches up, because eventually DJI will get bored with us and stop making FPV stuff, and then it'll be a very sad day. Bloated Goat FPV says, I'm looking, by the way, great username, Bloated Goat. Thank you for making me say that on stream. I'm looking for a lot of resolution at low to mid throttle. Would you make a custom curve in EdgeTX or would you use Expo? I probably wouldn't make a custom curve in EdgeTX because if I remember correctly, they're multi-point curves, but they're not smooth curves, and I think that's annoying. I guess I would use Expo, but I don't think you should use Throttle Expo. But if you were going to do it, I would do it in the flight controller. So. Terminal Insanity wants to know, if you buy a new DJI goggles or air unit, can you activate them without the blocking update? Yes, Terminal Insanity, you need to watch Madstech's new video. The 015 firmware is the one that you do not want. The goggles are currently shipping, I believe, with 060. And when you first get them, they want you to update to, I think it's 063. But then there's 015 and 020. And those are the ones, 020 blocks the features, but you can roll back. And 015 blocks the features and you can't roll back. So as of today, my understanding is that you are not forced to flash the firmware that locks you out permanently. But you should go watch Ian Madstech's video for more about that. Whatever happened to cryo-freezing motors? Asks John Solo. That product is still around. The cryo-freeze company is still around. 606, thank you, Quad Doc. They're shipping with 600 and they want 606. You should really go look at Madstech's videos because I clearly didn't know what I was talking about. Oof, Tom Hessequin. Man. Tom says, sudden rain destroyed my NV14 screen. Where can I find a replacement? I mean, Tom, no one's making that radio anymore. No one's manufacturing it. The company that made it, I mean, well, technically, I guess it was made by FlySky, but Underground FPV went out of business. Mikhail Anderson, thank you for the clarification. 606 can't be rolled back? Can 60? I mean, 606 is safe to use, so the fact that it can't be rolled back doesn't matter. Mikhail, is 606 safe to use? By the way, that's assuming that you're talking just about the air unit. Now, I don't know about the FPV drone. If you fly the FPV drone, I think it's a lot harder for you to avoid the update. If you only fly air unit and Vista, then I think you're okay. Michael Truth, there is no way to get live audio on DJI Vista today. It seems like they could do it, but they haven't. Quad Doc says, I don't think you can roll back 606, but 606 is still fine to use. Would a bad capacitor throw a smoke stopper warning light? Asks Gregory. Gregory Olivas. Possible, Gregory. A bad capacitor can fail short, and it would make a short circuit. I don't think they usually fail that way. Usually they fail open, but in theory, I mean, you should desolder the capacitor, and you'd know. Yeah, Mr. Fowl says, according to Blunty, 0606 is safe. Stain FPV wants to know about smart audio. TBS claims smart audio can carry an audio signal alongside the digital smart audio signal, meaning you can have audio and smart audio at the same time. Is that true? It's theoretically true. part of the problem is that in your earpiece, you hear smart audio going, bap, 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 which is kind of annoying until you arm and then smart audio quits. So that's a little annoying. In some cases, the microphone signal corrupts the smart audio signal and smart audio doesn't work. So it's not recommended. It can work. But the thing is, all modern flight controllers, all modern video transmitters have a separate smart audio and audio input. So there's no reason to do audio and smart audio on the same wire today. Unless you have like a really old video transmitter that doesn't do that. Which, no shame in that. AF Killa in the Discord has a question. Got to take care of those patrons. Thank you for being a patron, AF Killa. Really, really appreciate your support. I had to resolder a capacitor wire to ground, and it may be touching that yellow piece to the left. Is that going to be an issue? Ooh, the yellow piece to the left. Yeah, that's an issue. So that's a capacitor. And the end of the capacitor, where my mouse is right now, is live. Now, it's possible, in fact, it's likely, that this end of the capacitor is connected to ground, and this end of the capacitor is connected to something else. And that's why the capacitor is where it is. So if this is ground, then the fact that your ground wire, that is ground, right? Is that ground or is that hot? Little hard for me to tell. Assuming that this is ground, then that's fine. But there's no way to know, unfortunately. Because if it is touching, then you'll have continuity. And then there's no way for you to know if that continuity is coming from the fact that it's touching or coming from the fact that it's already wired up there. So, unfortunately, I think if it's touching, then I think you got to desolder it and try again. The problem, ZFPV, the problem is this. If he tests continuity between ground and the capacitor and gets a positive, it could be because that capacitor is already wired to ground inside the circuit board. You can't tell if there's contact between the solder joint and the capacitor unless you know the wiring of the circuit, which I'm guessing we don't. So I think you got to fix it, I'm sorry to say. I know that's not what you want to hear. Scott Abramachik says, I got the Omnifixo, and it's great. That's the best third-hand tool. Scott Abramachik, don't forget that you can take a little 1.5 millimeter driver and push the little rubber stoppers. You can push them just like a smidge further out of the hole on that Omnifixo, and then it grips way tighter. If you push them too far, they pop out, and then if you lose them, you're screwed. So be careful. But if you push them just a smidge further, it grips a little tighter. So a little tip for you, for all you folks who got the Omnifixo. People who don't have the Omnifixo have no idea what I'm talking about. JCFPV, I agree with you. It looks like you're working with, is this 14 gauge or 12 gauge? Like, what gauge is this wire? Yikes. I'm going to guess that these are motor wires, so this is 24? Is this 14? Or is it, God forbid, it's 12? I don't think it's 12. It can't be 12. I can't see any lettering on it. I mean, I think that 16 gauge, for an XT30, 16 gauge is fine. 14 gauge is overkill. You might try going to smaller wires. Hey, Siati, what's the minimum wire gauge for an XT30? Well, okay, that's a little bit of a leading question. I mean, you could go, depending on what you're using it on, you could go pretty small. You know, Beast H7, I guess in theory it could pull 55 amps. But if you're using an XT30, like on an XT60, the absolute biggest you'll ever need to go is 12 gauge. You just don't need to go further. It's the cap from FPV Cycle. That sucks. That really sucks. You really want that soldered direct to the board. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. It's a tough problem to solve. You got to figure it out. There's no straight answer, man. I don't think that... Is that 12? It's hard to tell because of the scale. That looks to me like 12 gauge. AF Killa, is it 12 gauge? Or is it 14? It looks like 12. Alrighty. XT30 16 gauge. That's my gut feeling. No, I mean your XT30, not the cap. What's your XT30 got on it? So this is 18. So the cap is 18. That's fine. That's actually probably overkill for a cap, but there you go. So he's shipping the cap with 18. If that's 18, then that's probably 14 and not 12. That's 16. See, my scale was way off. No, AF Killa. Yeah, okay. That's 16? Wow. Well, there you go. Just goes to show sometimes things look bigger than they... Never mind. That's what she said. Square One asks, one of the regulations to fly professionally where I live is to be able to set an altitude limit on the flight. Can Betaflight do that? No, it can't do it. Can't do it. It just doesn't support that. So you're out of luck there. You got to either just break the rules or you got to find another flight controller. There you go. It's a simple answer. It's not a happy answer. Oh, people in the chat say, that's not 16 gauge. Oh, yeah? Well, suck on this. It's 16 gauge. There you go. Scott Howell says, what could cause a quad to continue to climb after you lower the throttle? We were just talking about this. Excess D gain. Your D gain is too high, or your filter sliders are moved too far to the right. Yep, so move your filter sliders to the left. Jerome Weinberg is trying to figure out how to calibrate his voltage scale. Listen, and Abraham says, look for a voltage scale value somewhere in your documentation. You absolutely don't need to do that. If you're trying to calibrate your voltage scale, just get a multimeter out and measure the voltage of the battery and then adjust the scale until the battery readout matches. But here's the thing. Almost always 110 is the correct number. Almost all flight controllers, 110, maybe 111 is the correct number. If you have to radically change your voltage scale, your flight controller is probably damaged. Most of the time. However, F me, Abraham, right here with a CL Racing saying the voltage scale should be 160. So F me, the exception proves the rule. I don't know. God dang it, CL Racing. It's almost always 110 though. But you don't ever need to look it up. Just get your multimeter out and measure the voltage and then adjust it. The amp meter is the hard one. That is correct. James Bartholomew. Thank you for a $5 super chat. Just finished my first build, a diatone Tina whoop with DJI on Betaflight 4.3. Thanks for all your videos that helped me through the build. Flies great. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear it. Is it possible to power a quad off a AA battery? Yeah, sure, Canon Hughes. We did a Rotor Ride episode where we did that. We actually flew it off a AA battery, sort of. Just need enough voltage. It doesn't care. Just need like minimums like 7 volts probably. So just stack them suckers up in series until you get to 7 volts. Whit Mead wants to know what could cause throbbles in a micro after enabling bidirectional D-shot. That's a weird one, Whit, because throbbles are where the nose moves up and down when you raise and lower the throttle. I would not immediately think that would be something that would be affected by bidirectional D-shot. So the first thing I would do is turn bidirectional D-shot off and try to verify that was actually what was causing it. Alrighty. How can you tell if your flight controller is F4 or F7 if you bought a ready to fly? What I would do, I mean, there's probably a different way to do it, but what I would do is I would just connect to Betaflight. And when you connect, it'll say up at the top, so like right here, we've got board, diatone Mamba F722. Okay, see how it says Mamba F722? There you go. Notice also it says STM32 F7X2. So that is all telling you you've got an F7. If we look at the target names in the firmware flasher, you can clearly see which ones are F7s and which ones are F4s. Hang on. There we go. So if we just scroll through this list, like it's just really clear. AG3X F4, F7, F4, F7, F4, 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 F7, 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 F4, F7, F7. See? It's just right there in the name. F411, F722, F405. It's just, oh, now see, now here's one that's, TBS, got to be the odd one out. Calibri, oops. Almost all of them have it in their name. Not all. So you might have to look it up, but almost all of them, when you see the target name, it'll tell you. Troy Pham wants to know, is it possible to run DShot 1200 on Betaflight 4.3? Why did they remove it? They removed it in 4.2, I believe. It is gone. The reason they removed it is that their position is that DShot 1200 is only really necessary if you're running at higher gyro sampling rates. And since they stopped, they felt that 32K sampling caused more problems than it solved. In order to make the gyro sample at 32K, you have to turn off the internal filtering, and you get this really, like, your signal to noise ratio goes to crap. Something, I don't know. There's oversampling, I think. I should watch Chris Rosser's video again. Chris Rosser has a great video about gyros where he talked about it. Now I'm just sort of spewing half-remembered terms, so I apologize. But there's things that the gyro does when you sample at 8K that make the data better. And when you sample at 32K, you don't get the benefit of those things, and you get more data, but it's kind of garbage. Now, some people feel, like notably the Flight 1 people, feel that it's better to sample the gyro at 32K and then you clean up the garbage. The Betaflight devs strongly disagree. And somewhere out there, a Flight 1 dev is saying, that's because you're not good enough. You can't handle the data. You amateurs. Your flight controllers just can't deal with the power of 32K. But Betaflight samples at 8K. They took out 32K. And since they took out 32K, they argue you don't need D-Shot 1200. Yeah. That's the thinking. Now, like Alexander Fedorov definitely says that higher D-Shot is better even at lower sampling rates because it reduces the latency from the flight controller to the motors. And that's true, but it also makes the motor signal more likely to be corrupted. And the Betaflight devs were just like, nah, forget it. We're not taking that out. We're not giving them that. ZFPV says D-Shot's just a baud rate. It's just how fast the data transfer happens. More can't hurt. Yes, it can hurt. D-Shot 1200 will have more corruption with the same amount of electrical noise than D-Shot 600, than 300, than 150. The faster the baud rate, the more susceptible to corruption the data is. And the Betaflight devs at least say, we're not going to do that. Steady Eddie says, I have a Hack RC F722D that constantly kicks me out of Betaflight unless I power the quad first with a LiPo, then connect. That's weird, because USB should definitely power it. So I don't know what to tell you about that. I honestly, like, normally you'd say, oh, it's a 5-volt regulator. But, like, you get 5-volt directly from the USB. So that's a weird one. I don't have a great answer for you, honestly. I'm sorry, I wish I did because of your donation. The CFPV says there's error correction built into the protocol. Well, you go argue with the Betaflight devs. I mean, if there's error correction built into the protocol, ZFPV, then why is there an error percent in the motors tab? And why is that error percent ever not 0? Right? The existence of the error percent readout in the Betaflight motors tab indicates that it is possible to have corrupted packets. Error correction isn't 100% reliable. Wesley Vardy speculates about a bad diode on the USB 5-volt line into the flight controller. Yeah, if you're constantly losing connection unless you power the quad with a LiPo, I feel like flight damage to the hardware is possible. I don't know what else to say. It kind of feels like a cop-out answer, though. Goody FPV wants to know what I think about the Lux F7. Where's your question, Goody FPV? Oh. What do you think about the Lux F7? It is problematic. I don't recommend it. I apologize, Get FPV. It's sad to hear me say that. I've heard too many stories of bad voltage regulators and bad gyros, and it's like there's too many flight controllers out there that don't have problems. I don't know if the Lux H7 is any better, but the Lux F7, I would personally give it a pass. Okay. Don't 3D print bottom plates. Don't 3D print carbon fiber parts for quads. It will not end well. They are not stiff enough or strong enough. No. Wild FPV. CPU usage guidelines in Betaflight 4.3 have changed. The CPU usage in 4.3 can be as high as like 80%, and it's fine. And in fact, the reason for that is that Betaflight 4.3 has changed its way of calculating the CPU percent. And it reads higher, but it's just more accurate. Mark Blade says, I ordered a quad from Recon FPV. It's been 16 days and it hasn't shipped. Is that normal? Well, Mark, these days, it's hard to know what's normal anymore. Was it on back order when you ordered it? Is it actually on back order and they didn't say it was on back order, but it was never in stock in the first place? The only people who can answer that question for you are the people at Recon FPV. You got to ask them. Okay. Let me clarify my statement about 3D printing. If you are sintering metal or some bullshit like that, yes, technically that's 3D printing. It is. That's different. I'm talking about FDM, okay? Which is what most people mean when they say 3D printing, but not. I understand that there's more to it than that. Most people on my live streams. If you're using FDM, the only material I know of that's even remotely viable for printing quadcopter frames is carbon-infused nylon. Every other material, like I had a guy send me a frame he designed, and I think he was using some kind of enhanced PLA. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just PLA plus. I don't remember. And it was a whole, he didn't just take a carbon fiber frame and convert it to PLA. He like custom designed it to take, you know, and I flew it and I crashed it and it broke in half. I was like, that's what I thought would happen. Now, to his credit, it flew pretty decent while it was flying, which is saying a lot for a 3D printed frame. Because most 3D printed frames, PLA just isn't stiff enough. And if you don't design it like with tubular braces and everything, if you just try to make a carbon fiber frame out of PLA, it'll fly like crap. It'll fly to the moon. The motors will be hot. It's no good. There are very few materials that you can print a quadcopter frame out of and have it be worth a damn. Now, if you're talking about micros, tiny whoops, yes, possible. Up to maybe 85 millimeters, yes, possible. Not for 5 inches, though. Chase D, I will be reviewing the iFlight Commando 8. Calabrese 221. If your barometer is way off, make sure you have taken the recommended steps, like covering the barometer with open cell foam and making sure sun doesn't hit it and all those things. Dan636 says the quad we were referring to is a micro. Okay, fine. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work. It's just the reason that I have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder about 3D printed frames is that, like, once a year, someone says, hey, I'm going to try to, maybe more than once a year, I don't know. Someone says, hey, I'm going to 3D print a carbon fiber, I'm going to 3D print a quadcopter frame. And I say, don't do it. It's a waste of time. And they're like, no, no, no. Here are all of the reasons it's going to work for me. And then I'm like, okay, I tried. And, like, it's just like, nobody believes me. And occasionally someone says, I've done it. I've cracked the code. I've designed a 3D printed frame that will actually work. Do you want to try it? And I'm like, not again. And I say, no, because I don't think it's going to be any good. And they're like, really? You sure? And I'm like, fine, send it to me. And then I fly it. And, like, the best case scenario is it flies okay and then it breaks in half when I crash it. That's the closest anyone has come to a 3D printed 5-inch frame. This last guy, who I didn't make a video about because I didn't want to, like, I was like, hey, if it's amazing, I'll make a video about it. But I broke it in half in a relatively minor crash. And I was like, yeah, you done good, kid, but this is the whole reason I don't do this. I'm not going to show it here on stream, but I just had a conversation with a guy. I don't want to embarrass him or call him out. And he showed me it was a very, very thin, light 5-inch frame. And he said, I'm going to manufacture this. And I said, you've got a wedge-shaped piece in your arm. How are you going to mill a wedge shape out of carbon fiber sheet. And he's like, no, I'm going to 3D print this frame. And I was like, forget about it. It's not going to work. Like, you've designed a very thin and light carbon fiber frame. If it was made of carbon, it would just like it would work, but it would be on the edge. But if you 3D print it, it doesn't matter. It's not going to work. He was like, well, I think it's going to work. Okay. Hey, I could be wrong. Oh, man. Anyway. God bless you, Dan636. May it work for you. Nick FPV has an interesting question for us. Could you check out the T-Motor Pacer? T-Motor Pacer P50. He says that the solder pads look like they would short to the FETs. Is that so? P50A. Oh, we can't see the damn FETs. Oh, here we go. So here's why you don't need to be concerned. These little pads right here are connected to the solder pad for the motor. Now, I think you should be able to solder this without bridging to here. If you can't, but it turns out that if you short this pad to this pin here, that's okay, because that's the output of the FET. That's the output. These little pins here are connected here already. That's how the motors work. So you're fine. Get good, scrub. Learn to solder. Okay. Why are so many products out of stock? Because the frickin' world is on fire, Ride JDM. The world is on fire. No one can get semiconductors. There's been a global pandemic. Ever Given got stuck in the Panama Canal, the Suez Canal. No toilet paper for like 6 months. Everybody started baking bread. Then they stopped baking bread. Then they couldn't go to restaurants. For a little while there, restaurants were doing carry-out alcohol, which was kind of nice. That was a kind of an upside. But overall, I feel like now everything's out of stock. There you go. All of the above. Specifically, I complained about the pace of TBS development at one point, and somebody said, and I don't know if this is true, but one of my commenters said that 2 of TBS's lead devs live in Ukraine. Oops. I guess that's why TBS isn't fixing the bugs with Crossfire as fast as we might like. So it's all Putin's fault, is the takeaway. But we're not going to talk about that because I don't want to get demonetized. Oh. Sam Perez. So I don't know. This is the American stream, so everybody knows what I'm talking about. That you could serve alcohol at a restaurant, but you can't take the alcohol out of the restaurant onto the street. Because selling alcohol, if Ghost Branch is still here or anybody Europeans, you're going to think this is maybe weird. Selling alcohol to take away is a separate license from selling alcohol for consumption on the premise. But during 2020, when a lot of businesses were struggling to survive, they a lot of states just relaxed all those rules, and suddenly you could just take out alcohol. Like if you did a Grubhub, they could just bring you freaking margaritas. Didn't care. It was good. I don't think we can do that anymore. Hey, Don. Don, it's worth pointing out. Don is repeating the story about DJI, blocking Ukrainian drones and giving Russia the codes to track pilots of drones. Don, it's worth pointing out that the only source we have for that is one tweet by a guy, and DJI denied it. So we don't know, but there is no, like, in the sort of, we got to take our sources and take our evidence. We have no, I know it's like fashionable to shit on DJI, but there's no evidence that they actually did that, and they denied that they did it. Now, that doesn't mean they didn't do it, but anyway. Alrighty. It is, it's 10 minutes to the end of the stream. Aaron Ciotti is going to be streaming at 10 o'clock. He's going to start posting the link to his stream. And for the last 10 minutes or so, what do you say we play some Elden Ring? Just 10 minutes. Maybe more than 10 minutes if I go a little long. Why don't we just play just a tiny bit? All right. So if you leave super chats after this point, it's possible I'll miss them. Waiting for game. We'll just do a little bit. I've come a long way since the last one. I don't know why my game isn't. So there we go. Is the game going to start? There we go. From software. Do we have audio from the game? We don't. There we go. Oh my god, Mindbender. The last 10 minutes of the stream are going to be spent on something you don't like. I spent an hour and 50 minutes serving you. And now for the last 10 minutes, I'm going to do something that I want to do. And you're so annoyed about it. I mean, go with my blessing. Go with my blessing. So I beat Margit. I beat Margit already. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do that on my stream with you guys. Alright, where was I? What was I doing? Oh, I'm looking for this dude who's singing. There's a dude singing in this location. That's not a very good live stream, though. Where's the singing dude? Is he still here, or is he gone? Oh, we got a clock ringing. Maybe he only sings at a certain time of day. Where was the singing dude? Alright, that's not a very interesting live stream, but there you go. Alright, well, maybe he'll come back. And then there was a frickin'... Yeah, what's this thing over here? Like a frickin' walking... Oh, that doesn't... What are those things? You gonna lock onto those? Oh, that's bad. Well... Let's see if we can go down here. How many souls? Oh, 7,500 souls. Hold on. I haven't found... Have I found a... I don't want to fight a boss with 7,500 souls. And I haven't found any frickin'... Oh, man. I'm gonna go spend these souls. And then we'll find somebody to fight. Or runes, not souls. They're runes. Cygnus, air mode, acro, and acro are the same thing. It's only in angle mode that the mounting a flight controller in the back might have an issue of any kind. Am I short? I'm not short. Should I level up Vigor or Dexterity? I'm going to level up Vigor. Get some more. Can't hurt to have more hit points. Alright, now... let's go find somebody to fight. Make a good live stream. There's a path down here somewhere. I'm still not 100% sure where it is. There it is. Alright, so we go down here. And then there's a bridge. There was a dude at the end of the bridge who wanted to fight me. Hey, buddy. F you. Ow. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, that was, yeah, that was some damage. No. Alright, I'm not gonna fight all these guys. I'm just gonna run past them to get to this next area. Let's see if I can successfully skip these guys. Bye! Au revoir! See ya! Pardon me. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah. Are they still chasing me? They do not appear to be. Okay, good. What the F is this going on up here? What are you guys? Oh. Well... bye! Hey! Don't hit my horse with your... Alright. Cool. What's up here? Have I been up here yet? I don't know that I have. Bah! I need more arrows! Oh, there's my site of grace. Or I guess. Come here. Come here, you son of a... Oh, where are you going? Where are you going? You're not going anywhere now. You got a clip. Dead. Good. Now we can make more arrows. I don't think I can craft on them, so I can't. Okay, great. Now we got more arrows. What's this? Anybody want to fight me in here? Is this area clear? It appears to be. Oh, neat. Cool. Oh, that's good. There'll be another tier here. I can upgrade my flasks. Oh, yeah. That's good. Not anybody to fight on a live stream. But I need the animals. Yes. I need the animals for crafting. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. Okay, cool. Alright, what are you? Can we talk to you? Hey, buddy. What are you doing? He doesn't have a lot to say, does he? Oh. Okay. Didn't really spend much on the voice actor, did you? Okay. Alrighty. You got skeletons out here? Makes sense that there would be. Oh, you look like you're trouble. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Don't. Oh, I'm gonna get effed. So the skeletons get back up again. You do not. Somebody told me that you could roll through them and it would keep them from coming up, but it did not seem to work. Alright, got anything over this way? Oh, something over there. What do we got over here? Ooh, gilded iron shield. Okay. Check that out later. Is that it? Is that all we got over here? More bones for my arrows. Hey, get back here. Hey, there we go. Okay. Oh, you guys are back. You're good this time. You're good. I'm not gonna mess with you. Go back over this way, I think. Nope. I'm just gonna keep running. Bye! Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. I don't care. We'll find the... Okay, we got something over here I think you can fight. Is that something you can fight? No. Hi. Sir? Ow! There we go. Not the most effective fight. What's in here? This guy probably... What? You got cracked pots all over the place. What is going on here? Yeah, this is... Oh. Okay. Okay. What if I just, Oh, shit. Oh, shit! Yeah, okay. He saw me. Okay. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't need more of these guys. Oh, boy. Oh, there we go. Okay. What are you doing? What was that? Ow. Oh, okay. Doesn't seem like he moves very fast. Ooh, wow, he hits hard though. Ooh, lucky that. I'm gonna guess I can't parry his... Yeah. He doesn't seem to want to be staggered either. Oh, nope. His timing is not too complicated. Oh, get out of there! Good roll, good roll. Oh, what is he doing now? Uh-oh, I don't like this. Is he healing? Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Okay. Oh, okay. Ow. Got one flask left. Oh, that was bad timing. Bad timing! Bad timing! Stuck, stuck. Is he gonna do this again? I got you. I got your number. Oh, oh, bad, 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 bad. I don't know how to not get hit by this. I got your number, buddy. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, so close. So close. So close. So close. Where am I? I'm right here. Well, I felt like that was going pretty well. Where's his weak spot? Everybody, like, has a weak spot where if you hit him... Dead. He's got to have a weak... That's the thing. I don't... Like, I was just basically bashing him. Where is he? Where are you, sir? Oh, here he is. He found me. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Good, sir. Good, sir. Oh, wow. I timed that way wrong. Can you hit your friend there? There we go. No? Hit him. Hit him. Hit your friend. There we go. Thank you. Damn, I cannot break him. No. Too greedy. Too greedy. Get out. Too greedy. Only 2 hits. This guy isn't that hard. Oh, yeah? Oh, no. You little gold smash. Oh, no, this one scares me. I don't like this one. Woo. Oh, timed that wrong. These super delayed swings. Delayed swing. Oh, got you this time, though. Oh. Woo. Get out. Don't roll off a cliff. Damn it. Damn it! Ah! Come on. Oh shit! Oh shit! Damn it. Let's go. Damn it! Gotcha. Woo! That was close. That was close. Alright. That was close. I did not have whatever it took to break his stance, that's for sure. What did I get? I think I got more of these. What does these do? Boost stamina? Nah. Significantly negates damage. That's good. What's in here now? Enhances charged attacks. Boost strength. Boost strength doesn't matter because I don't have strength scaling. Let's do that. Okay. Yay! Yay! That was kind of fun. He wasn't too bad. Oh, as bosses go, he wasn't too bad. His timing was pretty predictable. He didn't move very quickly to chase you. Relatively easy, and his swings were slow. So if you dodge one, you got plenty of time to attack. As Souls bosses go, he was pretty baby level. So cool. I feel bad that I didn't like figure out more about him. I just like smashed him in the face until he died. Like I never got a backstab. I'm not sure you could parry him because of the size of his weapon. No parries, no backstabs, no like finding his weak spot and hitting him to break his stance. I just sort of dodged and counterattacked. So, sir, if you don't mind, sir. Wow, okay. They're not doing that great. You know, but I won. So that's good. Sir. Sneaky, 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 sneaky. Stab! Sneaky, 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 sneaky. Stab! No stab. Sneaky, 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 sneaky. Stab! Yes! Sneaky, 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 sneaky. Which way is this guy's back? There we go. Got him. I got him. Stab! Whee! Sneaky stab. Sneaky stab. Alrighty, guys. That's gonna do it for the stream. Sir? Stab! Backstab's so satisfying. Oh, sneaky, 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 stab! Alrighty. Good night, everybody. Have a good night. See you later.